hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Gosh, I love our listeners, Lloyd. I love our listeners. I love this job. I love the people I work with, my coworkers. But what I don't love is in-studio decoration. I'm not...
Don't.
It's a little much.
Don't bah humbug us.
It's like Santa came in here and puked.
He did.
Wow. It is not even Thanksgiving, but it is Christmas here in the studio. And if you didn't know, we do a daily YouTube show, so you can go and watch the show on YouTube if you really want to see how ugly we are.
They were decorating during Jake and Ben.
Oh.
And the wonderful people at Modern Display do a great job. And you can see the ladders behind him.
No.
It was like Clark Griswold behind him.
Did anybody fall on Ben?
Nobody fell on Ben.
Nobody fell on Jake?
Nobody. It was close.
No ornaments hit him in the face or anything?
None.
Yeah, it's Christmas here in studio, but we are preparing for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving week to everybody out there. Holy cow, I can't even believe it, man. Lloyd, we are in the final week of the regular season for BYU, Utah, and Utah State.
Don't say that.
And
don't say that.
And they're the ones that keep extending us the Christmas gifts. Because the 3 wins this weekend, man, is there a better way to wake up on a Sunday morning doing the map? Which, by the way, man, I say I love our listeners. Chewbacca, you'll always be one of my favorites. At Chewbacca85 on X. Chewbacca sends in a couple of different images of our map, the MAP, which is our Sunday morning podcast, only spelt different.
Don't do that.
Lloyd and Scotty are not
hates
talking.
when I do that.
Lloyd and Scotty are not talking. Scotty has taken the last 2 weeks off because, number one, he's trying to slide it in as, well, I'm doing other work. It's like, come on, buddy. Come on.
I'm grinding elsewhere.
I've seen multiple pictures, and yes, our boy Scotty is in swim trunks, and he is on a beach in South Carolina saying, that's it. That's final. I'm moving to Myrtle. So Scotty is just enjoying the beaches, whether it's the beautiful islands of Cayman or it's the incredible beaches of Myrtle. That guy is going to find the trip and go to the warmth now. And
yes. He didn't used to be that guy, and now he is that guy.
Oh, no, he's that guy. Yeah. So he can no longer act like the tough cowboy and be like, well, where I come from, we work. No, where you come from, you get older and you get trunks and head to a beach. That's what you do. And you leave Lloyd high and dry.
Freezing in the studios.
Hey, but in a couple weeks, I'll be on a flight to Hawaii.
That'll be you.
I'm going to Hawaii.
And I'll be the only one that's committed.
And I told Alim, I said, I'm going to Hawaii. I need
Hawaii.
And he's like, I don't have any hookups. He's like, talk to Coach Mack. So I told Coach Mack, Coach, I'm going to Hawaii. I need some help. And Coach Mack's like, who are you? Who's this? Who's texting? Coach Mack. He's brushing me off.
Suddenly he doesn't know who you are.
Yes.
Wrong number.
Who's this? So I am headed to Hawaii. I'm going to go enjoy a little bit of December sun on the islands. And this is going to be interesting because I leave the day after the Big 12 championship game. Whew, glad I left that open. I left it open going back, to the start of the season. I'm like, this is the same BYU team, just minus Jake Retzlaff. So I left that weekend open for the Big 12 championship game. Just because I was thinking, well, it's a really good team. I mean, this is going to be one of the best defenses in the conference. They've got a really nice offensive line. Got some great targets returning. Chase Roberts, Parker Kingston, JoJo. I thought, oh, it's some good targets. Yeah. L.J. Martin coming back. I better leave that weekend open. Whew. Lloyd, glad I did, bud.
Yeah, that was a smart play.
Glad I left that weekend open. And now you know what this means. I'll be taking the Comrex with me on vacation. And I'll be doing the show from Hawaii while my wife is on the beach.
Yeah.
Because, when a man makes a commitment.
Hey, that's going to be that Monday.
He honors that commitment.
Yeah. When you're going to be gone, it's right after a championship game. It's gonna be, or a title game. It's going to be right after.
Yeah, I know.
So I appreciate you doing that.
Well, yeah, and I scheduled the vacation. I'm like, if nobody goes to the Big 12 championship game, I'm just going to take these days off. If somebody goes to the championship game, I'll take the Comrex, and I'll be a big boy, and I'll do my duty. Hey, by the way, Lloyd, anybody watching on the YouTube cameras, it's one of those days. Bucked Up. I've got an LFG here in my hands. And big thanks to Bucked Up for being a big sponsor of the show. Big thanks to Ryan Gardner, Dan Gardner, all my crew at Bucked Up. We love you. And you keep me fueled when I'm trying to get ready for a show without Scotty. We do have a jam-packed show today. Lloyd and I are going to take you here through the first segment. Bronco Mendenhall, bowl eligible. The head coach of the Utah State Aggies joins us at 12:30. You're going to hear from Kalani Sitake today, Kyle Whittingham today. You're going to hear from the Ute and Cougar insiders. So it is a jam-packed day. And for some reason, on a Monday, after a big trip to Cincinnati, I'm feeling very blessed. Lloyd, let's get to the starter.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go!
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
They're going for it on fourth down in their own territory. Johnson, handoff, and they'll get the first down and more. Jackson, there he goes. Nobody's going to catch him. Joe Jackson, touchdown, Kansas State. 66 yards. Averaging 15 yards a rush. They're getting more here. Jackson out into the open. What a cut. To midfield. Jackson to the 30, to the 20. Touchdown, Kansas State. 80 yards this time. Dampier toward the corner of the end zone. And caught! Touchdown, Larry Simmons. What a throw and catch. This game's not over from 20 yards out. Inside the one for Utah. Parker and Dampier. Parker in motion. Dampier keeps it. Dampier. Touchdown, Utah!
All right, Lloyd, I am doing the math here. You got the box score pulled up, Lloyd? Pull that box score up. I'm just trying to do a little bit of math here. And I am looking at the first 4 games of this season for the University of Utah. So they gave up 84 yards to UCLA. They gave up 65 yards on the ground to Cal Poly. They gave up 121 on the ground to Wyoming. And they gave up 173 to Texas Tech. What was their total yards given up on the ground to Kansas State?
472.
The total, including the number 5 team in the country in Texas Tech, the total through 4 games, 443 through the first 4 games, including UCLA, Wyoming, Texas Tech, and Cal Poly. 443. I can't make any sense of what happened with this University of Utah defense against the run game of Kansas State. But when you wake up on a Monday morning and you have watched the 25-minute highlight package, it was 25 minutes, and you go back and you watch this game, the fact that Utah pulled this game out and found a way to beat Kansas State is an absolute Christmas miracle.
Oh, shout out to Jason Beck and that offensive game plan that he had, because that thing has not slowed down.
No.
One bit.
No, it's not.
Another 51-point game.
So Kansas State goes for 472. Utah puts up nearly 300 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground, getting 3 touchdowns from Bird Ficklin, getting 2 touchdowns on the ground from Devin Dampier, getting 100 yards on the ground from Wayshawn Parker. Plenty of usage across the board. And you come out of that thing with nearly 300 yards of rushing and 5 touchdowns. You also get 259 yards through the air with Devin Dampier. 259 for Devin. Fantastic job. Now, one thing we really need to focus on, and look, I was shocked. When Devin Dampier took the hit and put the ball on the ground, I was shocked. Because Devin knows better, and I'm sure Devin feels sick because that was the only turnover given. Outside of that, didn't throw the pick. And as the highlight package I saw, I didn't see a ball that was very close to a pick. So, Lloyd, I don't know, just as you kind of remember back through that game, it felt like Devin Dampier was a lot more secure with his 33 throws.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, he was inaccurate, but Devin Dampier's not going to be he's not going to be an accurate thrower.
But I don't feel like he put it in danger.
No,
though,
I didn't think it was as in danger. No. Now that fumble did come in. I thought that was ball game, especially where he fumbled.
Thought it was ball game.
Mike, that's it.
Done.
That's ball game.
I thought it was over, and I appreciated his effort because he was tucking and doing everything he could to get the first, and he would have had the first, I think.
Oh, he did. He would have had it.
He would have had it,
yep.
right? Or
he would have.
Or within a foot. He would have been there, and that ball pops out. He's got to feel sick about that, but. To Lloyd's point, Jason Beck has been incredible being able to put up the numbers that he's put up. And right now, Utah, here is your outputs through the last 4 games. 53 points against Colorado, 45 points against Cincinnati, 55 points against Baylor, and 51 points against Kansas State. Lloyd, they just keep putting the numbers up. And I'm just looking at rushing offense, new numbers calculated. Utah remains number 2, just behind Navy. Number 2 in the country, just behind Navy at 279.64 yards per game through 11 games. And Navy is at 308 yards per game through 10. Attempts per game. So Navy attempts 48 rushes per game. Utah attempts 45 rushes per game. How about this? Army is number 3 right behind Utah. They attempt 60 rushes per game for 259 yards on the ground. And Utah is in front of Army. They're in front of Air Force. All these teams that all they attempt to do is run. So I'm sure
offense, by the way, we talked about it a little bit on the map. Like, an offense should be able to – and it wasn't like they were down 20 points or something like that. Fortunately, they kept it within, for the most part, within striking distance of 10 points. 10 points isn't insurmountable. Like, that's doable, and you can still – you don't have to get away from your game plan. Had it gotten any further, then maybe you're relying on Devin Dampier to have to win it with his arm, and then you're in trouble. But if you're able to stay inside the Jason Beck offense and run it like they were able to, which they were able to, no panic.
No panic.
No panic.
And they did put up 250 yards plus through the air, which is good. So that now moves Utah into number 6 in the country in total offense, putting up an average of 484.5 yards per game. And they sit below Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Ole Miss, USF, and North Texas. North Texas is averaging 503 yards a game. Now,
they got that stud quarterback.
North Texas and USF playing in conferences that may allow a little bit more. But, one thing I've come to realize with the Big 12, typically, The Big 12's got coaches and personnel that can key on a niche, and they can take the niche, and you got to be able to beat them multiple ways. But we're watching Utah just put on a masterclass in the run game, and if you watch the way Jason Beck calls a game, his runs are all complementary of each other. Meaning, if you're trying to stop one part, this part will get you. And because of his personnel usage, your rotations of Bird Ficklin, your direct snaps to Bird or to Wayshawn or to Devin, I talked about this before, Lloyd, just personnel alone is jumbling up defenses. And so just based off the personnel package, you have no idea where the ball is going, and you're pretty much guessing at any point to try to fill a gap. And when you try to point out and fill a gap, it seems like Utah breaks it going the other way. Daniel Bray, only 3 carries and 9 yards in this game, but Nate Johnson, 4 carries, 33 yards. And it's a comeback for the ages. And I said this in the Sunday morning podcast. There's no question. Kansas State lost this game. Kansas State, terrible management, terrible ideas, terrible thoughts. But you can have teams making bad decisions, and you can have Utah be a defensive team with no offense, and there's no way they're winning that game. Do you know what I mean by that, Lloyd? Like,
yeah.
Okay, fine. So Kansas State's making some bad decisions, and they're giving you opportunities. If you don't have a complementary piece to your team in the offense, it doesn't matter. Then Kansas State is not giving away the game. Utah's winning the game because you left me just a little bit of room. You leave me a little bit of room. Well, I got a piece. I got something for you. I got something I know can go get you. And it's pretty funny because there were a lot of people that as soon as Utah closed it to within 10 with the pick 2, the tip by Smith Snowden, and the run back, was it Elijah? I think it was Elijah on the pick 2.
Wasn't Teo Johnson?
Oh, it was Teo Johnson. Okay. Teo Johnson on the pick 2. I only see the Smith Snowden tip because that's my boy. I love that kid, and he had a good game. I just think the world of Smith. But when they had the pick 2 and they closed it to within 10 instead of being down 12, all of a sudden that game is
the door is open.
It's just
and a defense, by the way, that for the most part couldn't get a stop to save its life all game until it mattered, until they needed it.
Well, I guess instead of down 12, I'll give Kansas State what they were attempting to do, go up 2 touchdowns. So not only did you stop the 14 or keeping it just being still a 2-touchdown game, you closed it within a field goal and a touchdown. And I can promise you, Lloyd, having been in a lot of different games in my life, there is a dramatic difference as a football team when you're looking at a scoreboard and it says 10 to it when it says 11 plus. Well, you can still get your 8 and your 2-point conversions, but you know what I'm saying. When you're looking at it and you're like, a touchdown and a field goal, and we're back in this. We can get a field goal easy, and if we got a minute left and 1 timeout, and we got a shot. Well, when you're this Utah offense, you're thinking, if I got no timeouts and I got a minute, 20 seconds, it's possible. And you saw the Devin Dampierre breakthrough. Was that a draw or a dive? It was one of the two, where Devin Dampierre breaks through the line and goes for 59 yards.
Yeah, that was that was a drawn up QB run.
It was either that. Yeah, I just can't remember if it was a QB draw or if it was QB dive. Did he take it and go downhill, or did he take it?
I think it was a draw.
Settle and go.
Yeah, I think he settled and go, if I remember right.
I think he settled and go because I think the draw pulled the safety based off of him thinking he was setting a pocket. But either way, the run was awesome. So it just tells you, man, when you've got 3 phases that are doing work for you, you've got yourself a pretty deadly team. And the other thing that I think's crazy, did you see the kicker Dylan Curtis, he passed. I think he is now number 1 in school history in extra points kicked in a season.
Because of all the touchdowns, all those extra points. Yep.
Because not a single field goal kicked in this game for the University of Utah. It was all touchdowns.
And I don't think at any point, Kyle Whittingham, they were thinking, well, hey, we could settle for a overtime, give our kicker. No, they were not going to leave it in the kicker's hands.
Is that 7 touchdowns put up.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to Jason Beck for holding up his end. And Lloyd, I through the week of preparation, getting ready for Utah, Kansas State, I was trying to draw on the memory of ever thinking, wow, this Utah offense is putting up better numbers than the Utah defense. I could not come up with a single sample of that in the Kyle Whittingham era. Now, just think through the Kyle Whittingham era. Think about how many times the defense couldn't do a thing and the offense just kept pace. That's pretty spectacular. And that's done in a single year under Jason Beck. That's piecing some things together, keeping some guys, big shout out to that offensive line for sticking around, because I think there were some tough decisions for them. Big shout out to Devin Dampierre trusting Jason Beck and coming to from New Mexico with him. Like there were some guys that had to step up, some dudes that probably left some money on the table. Not probably. Let me just tell you, there were 3 or 4 guys left a lot of money on the offensive side. Left a lot of money on the table.
Not something you see any these days.
Lomu in particular, a lot of money. So seeing those guys leave some money on the table, trust an offensive coordinator, put up 51 points, and be able to keep pace with an offense that put up 472 yards, more yards than the combined yardage of the first 4 games of the season, including a Texas Tech team that's top 5 of the country. And this Utah offense kept pace. Jason Beck, amazing. Amazing. He should be lauded with praise. He should be put on the shoulders of Utah fans and carried off the field with that type of performance. Great stuff. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Bronco Mendenhall on the other side.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this as the Cougars look to earn a spot in the Big 12 title game as they take on UCF in Provo. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 575-9663. You're going to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Utah State versus Boise State game on Friday, November 28th, 2 p.m. at Maverick Stadium. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's a senior night. It's the final home game. We're getting you free tickets right now. Just call 801-575-ZONE. All right, Bronco Mendenhall is going to be joining us here in just a second. And Utah State pulling out a fantastic win over a 7-4 Fresno State team on the road in the Valley. Very difficult game to be played. And they were able to find a way to get the win and coming out of that with bowl eligibility and the opportunity to get themselves to 7-5 to finish this season. Utah State changing over coaches, bringing in Bronco Mendenhall, and changing over personnel. We talked about the Utah State personnel changeover, as dramatic as anything or anybody might have heard or seen in the country. The amount of personnel that they changed over is staggering. And Bronco Mendenhall was able to bring his staff in, organize it, keep his recruiting up, which I thought was fascinating because it was just incredible going through that whole process with my son from one staff to the next and watching Bronco continue to keep his focus with his staff, keep the team focused, and keep things together. It's just been really impressive. to watch him do this. And to be able to get the win over Fresno State, 28-17, it's just incredible. Watching this team come together, show poise, show resiliency, and continue to fight for each other and get the win. Bryson Barnes, 16 of 30 for 150 yards. He also put up 23 carries for 113 yards. You heard Scotty talking about it in the Sunday morning podcast. Scotty said this has been one of the more impressive and more resilient performances that he's ever seen from an individual in Utah State football history, what Bryson Barnes is currently doing. So big shout out to him. A couple of other impressive things coming out of this Utah State game. I thought Kevin McGivern called a heck of a game. You know, there were a couple of different gadget plays that worked extremely well for Utah State. A couple of double passes, a couple of throwbacks. You know, he'd get in the red zone, and he had some things ready to go in the red zone. So great work by Kevin McGivern. I felt like overall this team and this staff, their focus and their clarity in the Valley in this win was tremendous. Let's get out to Bronco Mendenhall with your Mendenhall conversation.
It's time to talk Utah State football with the head coach of the Aggies, Bronco Mendenhall, on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Man, Coach Mendenhall, what an impressive win coming out of Fresno with that victory. How good are you feeling? How good is this team feeling after that 28-17 win?
Oh, man, it's not describable. Just the kids were so happy in the locker room and the coaches, and because they felt like they'd really won the week before against UNLV and didn't have the victory to show for it. But their preparation model all week, the way they traveled, the mindset, and so really the team just doubled down on that and believed it would pay off. 17-7 at halftime, trailing, and kind of just determination in the locker room, not discouragement or despair, but just like, you know, we know this is possible and we can do this. And then, man, 18-play drive and a 12-play drive and a 6-play drive with 3 and outs defensively in between and turnovers, and basically just took over the game in a really hostile setting. And so the way that it happened just added to the celebration in the locker room and the post game, and just really, really fun, and so happy for our team.
I've played in a couple of different games like this, Bronco, and just watching this game, and coming from a defensive perspective, I can walk to the sideline and say, geez, they got 169-yard run and put up a touchdown. And I can walk to the sideline and say, oh, nice bomb down the field, a 43-yard pass just before half. Oh, great. We gave up 2 big plays. We gave up 17 points. We can come together and we can get it fixed in the second half. I've felt that before, but just talk about what the resolve was at halftime and maybe some of the adjustments, if any.
Yeah, it was just the brutal focus on execution, and knowing that with that, neither one of those touchdowns happened in the first half, and the possibility clearly existed, and the kids knew it, right, that it could have been a shutout to that point, and they were determined for that to happen in the second half. And just certainly there was a schematic adjustment or two, but nothing overwhelming, nor did it need to be. Just a couple things need to be shored up, and there was 4 big plays total on the entire day, that's minimal, and it's very difficult to score points that way against our defense. The number of 3 and outs, they were Fresno was, I think, 4 of 13 on third down, 0 of 3 on fourth down, and it's just difficult to win a game when you can't stay on the field. So the defensive kids, not only the week before and the week before, but then this one, they're just starting to play with amazing confidence and production, and it's really fun.
Before you hopped on, I was praising Kevin McGivern. I thought that some of his red zone draw-ups were beautiful. The throw, the double pass to Brady Boyd, the throwback. Just talk about Kevin McGivern and what he's done with Bryson Barnes and some of the pieces that he has offensively.
Yeah, he's an exceptional coordinator, even a better person. He might be just as fine a person before a coach that I've ever just been able to work with. I've just had an absolute blast this year working with him, and consider him a true friend and just someone that I really look forward to his example every day. his innovation, his creativity, his ability to maximize resources, and as a play caller, just super impressed with. And he's giving Bryson every chance to be successful, but he's also giving our team every chance to be successful. And those calls that you're talking about, man, they lead to points. So all of those drives I just talked about where Fresno couldn't get off the field, they all ended up in touchdowns. And that's demoralizing for a defense when you just can't get off the field and it yields a touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. And, Kevin was just ready each time and each drive to answer again, which was to his credit.
Something that I love, especially when you're going up against a 7-win team in Fresno State and you're doing it on the road. And correct me if I'm wrong, because it's not like I watch every single play of every Utah State game, but when I see Utah State on the 2-yard line and I see Fresno State just stacked and ready for the dive, and I see an end-around reverse throwback to Bryson, I don't think I've seen that play this year. And I might be wrong, but what I love, Bronco, is when I can't even reflect on that play and it hits like that.
Yeah, it just caught everyone on the opponent's side flat-footed. So they have an exceptional inside linebacker, and he was actually here, from my understanding. I didn't get a chance to meet him before he left or transferred before I got here, but he's one of the better players in the league at his position. But I saw during the play him throw up his hands like, what was that? Literally during the play, his arms go up like, how do you stop that? Which is really, I think, how kind of that unit felt at that point, just like what's coming next. And when that happens during the play, it's hard to play fast when you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And he literally on that play just didn't know where to go.
Well, this team has been a blast to watch, and it's tough because when I see a big-time win, 28-17 over Fresno State, I have a hard time reflecting back to UNLV and how tight and close, and New Mexico and Wyoming, and Hawaii, and it's like, man, there's so many. It feels like what ifs, but you put the what ifs behind you. You got one home game against Boise State. Talk about just the preparation and focus, because it's not often we've seen Utah State get those wins over the Broncos.
Yeah, it's just a really cool opportunity to be leading a program where the last game truly matters, and this team has put themselves in that position. And just to go back for a second, UNLV's 9 wins right now, and we outplayed them in every way, shape, and form. And so our team is just growing and becoming and gaining momentum and getting better and better. And so, yeah, there's the what ifs and their could haves and the Texas A&M and the Vanderbilt trips and all that. But it all shaped where we are, right? There's no skipping steps and there's no going around. And the results are exactly what we've earned to now be staged for Boise at home in our last Mountain West Conference game and game before a bowl game. I mean, how can you script that any better? I mean, what an amazing opportunity for this team to close out our first year together. And I'm really excited for them. The game's on Friday, so we're a day ahead, Friday at 2. Our return from Fresno was pretty challenging. So we got we couldn't land in Logan, so we had to land in Salt Lake, and then got on buses. So we got here 6:30-ish, 7 in the morning, after the game, so it kind of felt like the red eye from Hawaii, actually. And so the guys had Sunday to recover, back to work today, and there's really nothing else other than Boise now on a shortened time frame. So we're all systems go at a pretty fast rate right now here. So
just a quick look at conference standings. It's really interesting because Utah State's not out of this thing. It's, it really could come down to maybe even a 5-way tie at 5-3. If Boise State loses to you, if New Mexico loses to San Diego State, which is very possible, and then it really comes down to UNLV and what they do against Nevada. But it's crazy to think, Bronco, you're right there with this team.
Oh yeah, we thought that from the beginning. The Mountain West is just wide open, and any one of those, we struggle in the fourth quarter against Hawaii, and we start slow in the first half against New Mexico with the punt return and the safety. Those are all real things that happen, though. And then the UNLV it's the margins are razor thin, but that's good as well because the margins are razor thin, and we're right there, and we're right there in year one, which is it's gratifying but also realistic, and I claim the results either way. But we get a chance now to take all of that as a composite and put it together one last time in regular season against a very strong opponent, but it's in the Maverick Stadium, which, man, I think it's pretty formidable for opponents.
I think this has just been an incredible season, and I'm hoping that you and your team get an opportunity to look back at those wins against Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. So Scotty and I, and Lloyd, we all get up on Sunday after all the games, and we do a podcast, and we talk about the Aggies. And one of the things I was reflecting on was this team putting up good quarters and good football against two of the top 10 teams in the country. I mean, Vanderbilt and Texas A&M are as good as it gets, and I'm hoping your team can even think back and reflect and say, hey, we stood toe-and-toe with those guys for quarters.
Yeah, we did, and there were moments that got away from us, and there's moments that after both games, and just quite frankly, we were disappointed we didn't win. So we're not playing anyone, thinking that they're Texas A&M or Vanderbilt. And that's one of the strengths of the team. They're gritty and tough and not intimidated or concerned really about anyone in what league or what patch or what stadium. And that's a really cool place to start from. But I think it reflects the identity of this valley and the people that are here too. And they're kind of up for any challenge and trying to build a team that will play that way and represent them well.
Well, on behalf of Scotty, I need to just talk to you about Bryson Barnes because in that morning podcast that we do, he was just effusive, talking about how incredible just the effort and the energy and the hope and resiliency, and talking about he needs to be the conference offensive player of the year. Bryson just has to continue to put a smile on your face all around with the way he plays this game.
I can't believe that he was my quarterback or is my quarterback in my first year at Utah State. I couldn't pick anyone better. He just is everything I would hope a quarterback to be. Maybe more importantly, as a person, and I've never been more impressed with a young man's toughness and resiliency and determination and leadership as I am with him. And I can't say single-handedly because that's not fair to my team, but he just wanted to help this team win in any way possible. And all those drives, I mean, he's pulling guys for first downs. He's hurdling guys. He's running over players. He throws an interception and upends tackles the defensive lineman. It just looked like a linebacker hit. And he just, man, he's exceptional. And so, yeah, it's just been my pleasure to have been his coach and to be working with him. And
you know what? I feel like I'd miss an opportunity if I didn't mention Bronson. I know that I talked to you about Bronson Olival a lot, but I was teammates with Kaltai Olival, his father, and Kaltai is one of my all-time favorite teammates. Bronson pulls down that interception. Just talk about that moment for him.
Yeah, probably the most critical moment of the game, if you have to identify it. It's 17-7, if I remember correctly, and we turn it over. Might be 17-14 at that time. I don't remember exactly. But we've only had 9 turnovers on the entire year, and we turn it over on the 20 in the red zone, and it gives Fresno a chance to separate as the game is, in the second half. And our defense not only goes 3 and out, but it goes 3 and out with an interception. So we don't give up a field goal. We don't give up a touchdown. We actually get the ball right back, which sets up another drive. And pretty cool, of the 9 turnovers we've had this year, only 2 have led to points for the opponent. And so our defense has answered really strongly and sudden change the entire year, which is kind of an unwritten story.
That's got to be a career low for you, Bronco. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's Kevin, our offensive coordinator, it's Kevin McGivern's approach. There's right from the beginning, there's a very clear and methodical way we care for the ball and the way that it's coached. And I think the next closest under the last 3 or 4 years was like 21 here. And yeah, 9 is just, wow, you have a chance to be a pretty strong first-year team if you're holding on to the football and caring for it like that.
Well, it's just fun. It's fun watching Javen Jacobs explode off that left edge, give you guys the lead. It's fun watching Bronson pull down the interception. It's fun watching Bryson Barnes do these things. And It's just an impressive team, a fun team to watch. It's been a blast seeing what you do in Logan. Keep it up. We're sending all the fans out. We want Maverick Stadium packed with this senior night final game of the year. So good luck to you, Bronco, coming up this weekend.
Thanks so much and for everything this year. Talk to you later.
Back at you, Coach. Thank you. That's Coach Bronco Mendenhall. Whoo, Lloyd. Dude, he battled. The first halves, both against Texas A&M and Vanderbilt. He battled. That game against UNLV, it's just you miss a field goal. You miss 2 field goals. One of those 2 makes.
You're be talking about an 8-win team.
We should be talking about an 8-win team.
Yeah.
Remember the whole Hawaii fiasco? I don't think people will ever know, and what sucks, the record books will never show what happened. Flights get canceled. Flights get canceled. How do flights get canceled? Guys are sitting in hotels, sitting on tarmacs, in flights that they don't know. Coaches are disheveled. The whole thing sucked trying to get to the island to play that game against Hawaii. I feel like everything's just been stacked against them. I think Bronco probably learned a lot about New Mexico. Anytime Bronco returns to New Mexico, he's got to know, I'm going to prepare my players like this is their fight too. This isn't just my fight. This is their fight too. Because that's the truth. And guess what?
It was personal with that team.
It was personal. I'm telling you this, and I promise you this. If I was on Bronco's team and Bronco came to me and said, hey, guys, look, here's the deal. I left New Mexico to come here and be your coach. They don't like me there. I need your help. I promise you, man, I am buckling that chin strap on, and I am putting on the war paint, and we are going to fight our butts off for Bronco Mendenhall. I'm going to fight the fight for him on the field. That's what you do for your head coach. And there's a lot of coaches that are like, well, I don't want to make it their fight. Oh, I don't want to make it public. No, screw that. Let's make it our fight. Give me the opportunity to fight the fight for you, and I'll battle.
You're on this team together.
Because I promise you, well, I've heard, I've already got the rumors. New Mexico was in the locker rooms and in practice and essentially putting the piñata of Bronco up and going nuts. So I think they've learned a lot. Great season for Utah State. They can finish out in a 4 or 5 team tie at 5-3 in the Mountain West Conference. So this is how it would stand, Lloyd. San Diego State would be 7-2 because San Diego State would give New Mexico a loss, which would put them at 5-3. Utah State would give Boise State a loss that would put them at 5-3. The tough one is you need Nevada to play their butts off and beat UNLV. But that would put UNLV at 5-3. A Utah State win would put them at 5-3. And if Hawaii were to beat Wyoming, it would put them at 5-3. You could potentially have a 7-1 San Diego State team and 5 teams at 5-3 right below them. And then you leave it up to the tiebreakers. All right, we'll take a quick break, come back to what you may have missed.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The regular season comes to an end for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes as they hit the road for a battle against Kansas. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Kalani Sitake coming up at 1 o'clock, 1:10. We'll hear from the head coach of BYU. Quick, what you may have missed. Lloyd, why do you got to drop bad news in my ear? I missed Joe Burrow by 1 week.
Joe Burrow by a week.
By 1 week?
What you knew was going to be close. You knew there was a chance you were going to see him.
Cincinnati, what are you doing?
What is their I was just talking about this with Christian. What's their playoff chances? Are they like in the mix, or don't you just rest him? Like bring him back next year?
Yeah. Well,
are they in the mix?
That's what I asked Dan Horde. Remember, we were talking to Dan, and he said this, that, and that. He goes, no, Joe Burrow is a competitor. He just wants to come back. But no,
I think you tell
they're
Joe,
3-8. They're
and out. You're out, and you tell Joe, hey, our offensive line sucks. it's only a little bit better than the Raiders' offensive line.
He said,
Like
Joe Burrow wants to play. But, Lloyd, have you ever been to that stadium?
No.
The Bengals Stadium?
Nope.
I got to admit, man, I love it.
You love everything about Cincinnati, huh?
No.
Oh.
No. Don't like the fans. No. What I do love is the architecture, the construction, the setup. Awesome. Dan Horde helped Greg Wrubell get these 4 tickets to go to this Patriots-Bengals game. They were on the 200 level. Lloyd, these are 3-inch cushioned seats, all 200 level. So it's the whole wrap of the second level is these nice cushioned chairs.
So it's the who's who of fans.
It's the who's who, and Greg Wrubell got access to him, even though he jetted out.
Go call another game.
I got to tell you, Greg he had me laughing so hard. So Greg's doing 1,000 things. He calls the women's soccer. He calls the men's baseball. He calls men's basketball. He calls men's football. Like, there's no other university play-by-play.
He even does the table tennis.
I don't think he does the table tennis.
You sure?
But I did learn this weekend that he does throw a little bit of cornhole.
Okay.
I did learn this year. So he's a guy after your own heart, because I know
my kind of guy.
You're a cornhole type guy. But so I get in the car, and Greg said, "Hey, I've already broke it to the guys." And Matt and Mitch were in the back seat. He goes, "I already broke it to the guys. I'm leaving you and them to go call this soccer game." And I'm like, "Greg."
Did you tell Greg, say, "Is it me?"
No,
Is it
I
me?
didn't even have to say that to Greg.
Is it me?
I know it's me. I know it's me. I don't even have to ask Greg
It is
Wrubell
not.
if it's me.
It is not. It's got to be Mitch.
And as soon as Greg got out of the car, Mitch said from the back seat, "It's you."
It's either Mitch or who else would you go with?
Hey, so this I'm gonna Matt. Matt Jarvis. He's our
No, it's
spotter.
not Matt.
Who are you talking about? Spencer Linton?
Oh, might have been Spencer. Maybe.
Spencer was the fourth. So
it was Mitch or Spencer, because there's no way it was you.
So
or
crazy happenstance. Spencer Linton with BYU TV. He's a huge Bengals fan. He was just going to go buy a ticket and go by himself.
See, and I actually thought that was Joe Burrow himself.
No, it's not. It was a Joe Burrow jersey on a guy that looks like Joe Burrow.
He looks just like Joe
Spencer
Burrow.
does have a Joe Burrow look.
When I saw the picture, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hands is hanging out with Joe Burrow.
No, he has a Joe Burrow
And he's
look.
wearing a BYU hat.
But it wasn't.
What is happening?
He was not hanging out with us. But Spencer Linton was. And you know what? Better. It's better that it was Spencer Linton than Joe Burrow. Joe would have
I like Spencer, but I don't know. Hanging out with Joe Burrow. He would have had a cigar.
Yeah, he would have drove me nuts with his cigar smoke in the car. I'd had to shove it up his nose.
Get out of here, Joe.
Lit in first. But, oh, man, it was such a blast, Lloyd. Such a blast. And these NFL teams, they do it right. Yeah, it was expensive. It was $186 a ticket. Greg pre-bought parking, which was about a quarter of a mile from the stadium for $60. So
that's only $186 for the ticket per ticket. That's only a little bit more than BYU Wisconsin tickets.
For the basketball?
Yeah.
Were they that much?
A little bit more. Yeah, they were expensive. It was an expensive ticket.
It was that high,
at
huh?
Delta Center, yeah.
You sent me the
the upper
image
bowl was like $100.
Well, Greg had this thing set up. It was so sweet. And he just kind of gave the keys to Matt, and he's like, okay, park here, walk here, do this. It was so well put together. It was perfect weather. It was a great game. Joe Flacco had an opportunity to drive about 68 yards for a touchdown and the win in the final drive, but T. Higgins had gone out previously with a concussion, and he was off the field, so they were doing it sans their best receiver and just could not make the drive, and New England ends up with the win. Drake May is the real deal, though. Drake May throws a beautiful football.
I still don't have any idea how the Las Vegas Raiders beat them. That was their first win.
They've only got 2 losses.
Their very first game of the season.
Opening game of the season.
The opening game of the season.
20-13.
Yes.
And then they beat the Dolphins, and then they lose to the Steelers 21-14, and they have not lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's a very good team.
Straight wins for my New England Patriots.
Oh, I hate you.
Just kidding. But the NFL sure puts on an amazing show. All right, take a quick break. Kalani Sitake next.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. It's a Black Friday showdown for the Aggies as they welcome in Boise State to Logan. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Kalani Sitake was beside himself after that game. I mean, doing the post-game interview with him up in the booth with Greg Wrubell and just listening to how excited he was about that win. Tough win, man, hard-fought win. But Kalani Sitake addressed the media today, and he's given us an idea of where this team stands, personnel situations, Chase Roberts updates, all kinds of things. Here is Kalani Sitake.
Back at it again. I hope you guys are doing good. Just really excited about the game. And, we're at the last game for our seniors this weekend. And really, really happy with the result after watching the film and everything. Just proud of our guys. Just a commitment to playing tough and being in a physical game. That was good. A good response from all our guys at all 3 phases. And so, looking forward to the momentum that we were able to create, and we need that going into this last game. And we knew going into that game that Cincinnati was going to give us their best shot. It was their senior night, and now we're here at our senior day and our senior game. And so the goal will be controlling the emotions because we've been part of it, and we talk about it and having those guys figure out that it's going to be an emotional time for them, but also to embrace the opportunity and to go out and play their best. And so really getting over the emotions of this being your last game, and maybe even approaching the concept of it right now so they can understand it. And then let's go play the game and have fun and perform at our best. We do that, and I think everything else will take care of itself. A really good team. UCF is coached by Scott Frost, who's got a great reputation in what he can do, especially with the offensive mind that he is. He's had a lot of success at UCF, and this is his second stint. So, we can see on film they're a dangerous team, and that their roster's full of talent and skill and speed. And so this is not going to be an easy game, but we feel good about getting the most out of our guys and performing at our best and seeing what happens. We're going to need to play all 3 phases, complementary football, and do our best to make sure that we're in a best position for success. But, looking at their staff, I mean, I know Alex has been there for a while. He's got a great reputation as a defensive mind. And so they have really good talent, great coaching and coaches and the coaching staff. They're a well-coached team, and I know they're a dangerous opponent. You look at what's going on in the Big 12 conference, nothing's easy, so you look at the games that happened over the weekend, a lot of tight games. And, we remember being in a position where they're playing for a lot right now. They're playing for bowl eligibility, and we're playing for a lot too. So there's a lot riding on this game. Just want to find a way to go 1-0 this weekend. Keep focus on our opponent and stay humble, stay hungry, and away we go. Just kind of doing the same things that we've been doing and trying to keep the momentum going. So what questions do you guys have for me?
We'll start off with Mitch Harper.
Kalani, wanted to ask, just how your team came out health-wise. We saw, obviously, Chase, as you noted, after the game in Cincy that he took himself out. But the TV broadcast showed in the fourth quarter, Bear kind of grimacing at times. How's your team health-wise heading into this final week of the regular season?
Yeah, everybody's sore. I mean, Chase has got. I mean, obviously he couldn't go in the game, but we've got to make a decision on what's the best thing for him this week. And so, we'll evaluate that as we get closer towards the middle of the week. Bears fine. The guys are tough, and LJ, those guys they're banged up. Everybody should be banged up right now in college football going into the last week, last game of the season, so the regular season. So we don't expect anyone to be 100% until we get to Saturday. But we're gonna have to practice hard this week. We got some sparring to do and get this team ready for this weekend. But yeah, the guys are banged up. That's the game of football. That's why we anticipate that happening, and we know it's going to be a painful process and part of it. So proud of the guys though. Then they'll find a way to get back and get healthy and be ready to roll. But mindset's got to be focused on working hard and getting it done.
Then wanted to ask you, you said in your opening remarks that the momentum was built or gained from that win in Cincinnati. And in what areas do you feel like is areas of momentum going into this final week? Was it just solely the rushing attack, or what other areas did you see that you feel like is building momentum heading into this final week?
Yeah, all of it. I just think physical momentum is what I care about the most. The guys were tough and strong. I mean, that's where you can always control that. You can't control what happens to the ball, and even if mistakes are made, we got to always bank on the fact that we're committed to going through a little bit of pain and sacrificing so we can get a win. And so that's the thing that I'll start with that. Everything else kind of works. I mean, you named them all right there. I was proud of the way the guys were able to do some things and create turnovers, take care of the football, run the ball, be physical downhill, and also run the ball outside. We were able to possess the ball. I mean, A-Rod doesn't get enough credit for what he's able to do as an offensive coordinator. I'm going to keep telling you that he's a dream if you're a defensive coordinator to have, because he complements, doesn't have an ego, and he's all about getting a win. So I love the way that the coordinators have worked together. That's with A-Rod, Jay, and K-Pop, and the way they're able to work in harmony, it reflects in the way the players, work together on as a team in all three phases.
Next question from Brandon Gurney.
Speaking of physical play, second week in a row, your defensive line was honored with the defensive line of the week in the Big 12. Can you comment on just how well their play has been and how big that's been for your team overall?
Yeah, I think the guys are understanding a lot of what they can do up front. We have a lot of young guys that are still learning and growing in the system, but it's also good to see leaders like Keanu and JT. Those guys do some wonderful things up front, and then you combine that with what Vil and Bodie and Clegg and Tausili and Nusi, all those guys in the mix, man. You get a bunch of guys with Anisi and those guys are all playing great football and they're doing it at a high level. And I think you have to kind of look at their coaches too. They do some really good things together, man. And it's been nice. And I know a lot of the attention goes to the linebackers, but there's people in front of the linebackers making stuff happen and getting pressure on the quarterback and causing interceptions, things like that. Those guys have been able to create some chaos, and that's been nice to depend on.
Speaking of Anisi, he came back with a big club on his hand. How limited is that, if any, and how big is his presence back in the line for you guys?
I think he can only pick his nose with one hand now. That sucks, but he's effective. I mean, you can't use the club as a weapon, but I'm proud that our training room and our doctors could figure out a way for him to keep playing. But he's effective enough. Unfortunately, he can't use that hand, but he can use the rest of his body and to take up some space. But the club is definitely helping him just be on the field and stay safe.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Yeah, Kalani, I know it's senior day and you're going to honor a bunch of seniors Saturday. What has this particular class meant to the program, and what are you going to remember about these guys?
Yeah, leadership, the overall buy-in, and then the willingness to bring their brothers along. Just I look at all these guys, and then I mean, it's awesome. I'm so proud of them and proud of what they've been able to build here, and the the culture that's thriving with them and the autonomy that they've been given, but the ability to take that even further and have it reach out to the fan base and to the community. It's been super impressive, and I'm just proud of all of them, man. I just love what they've been able to do, on the football field, but more proud of what they've been able to accomplish in the classroom. We've had record GPAs as a team because of them and what their example that they set, and then what they've been able to do in the community. On the field stuff has been amazing too. So they've had a lot of wins, and they've ushered us into the into the Big 12 and had some success now the last couple of years, and we just got to finish it strong for them.
And then I just want to ask about Tiger Bachmeier, the role he's playing. How has he kind of handled it as far as coming in? Obviously, his little brother's doing some amazing things. Just what has he been like as far as a teammate and kind of a mature aspect of his game?
Yeah, I think he's been amazing just with his leadership because he works hard all the time. He's not, I think when you look at the stats, they don't jump out at you, but he does all the little things right. I mean, there's things that he does on the field that you don't really show up on the stats. He blocks, runs right routes, and he does all the little things right. I mean, he's not perfect, but man, he's close to it, and he's a perfect teammate. So, and it helps that he has a little brother, playing under center. So he's been amazing for us, and it's just been good to see him thrive in the culture that we have, and for him to be a big brother, not just to Bear, but to others.
Next question from Jake Hatch.
Kalani, what is your philosophy on guys who may not be seniors, but this could be their final home game? Do you want them to walk?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we did that with Chase Roberts last year, and we'll do that with a number of guys. I mean, that's just we want to do it the right way. Some guys are lucky; they get two senior walks and blankets and things like that. So,
I also wanted to ask you, UCF's going to be battling for bowl eligibility. They won last week to get themselves within one game. How much are you expecting from them as they come in fighting for their postseason lives?
Yeah, we were expecting a lot. I mean, we were in that position a couple of years ago, and so we know exactly what their mindset's going to be, and there's a lot to play for on their side and also for us. And I mean, this is the simple thing is we want to win at home for our fans, but also for our seniors, and we won't, there's a lot riding on it for us too. So it's a big game for both sides, and we're going to get their best shot. We just need to make sure that ours shows up as well.
Kalani Sitake, his presser today, a lot of great insight right there, including Anisi Purcell only being able to pick his nose with one hand. Good stuff. Kalani cracks me up. I know that he was making himself laugh there, and Kalani honestly doesn't care if anybody else laughs. Like, he was like, yeah, he can only pick his nose with one hand. If you didn't see Anisi Purcell, big club on his hand, actually did cause some problems. He missed a tackle that would have probably stopped an advance for a first down and kind of slid down the tackle. But he was great, did a great job clogging gaps and doing some other big things. So very impressive. And they really needed Anisi in that game. Take a quick break. We come back to Mitch, our Harper, our Cougar insider, coming up next on 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this as the Cougars look to earn a spot in the Big 12 title game as they take on UCF in Provo. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, heads up. You got to join us tomorrow from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Nissan in Southtown. Shout out to Tyler at Tim Daly Nissan. That's coming up tomorrow. I know you're thinking, well, yeah, the Cougar Preview Show is always on Wednesday. We had to move it forward because of Thanksgiving. So 1155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan, Tim Daly Nissan, home of the Forever Warranty. And I did get a message from Tyler. And there were multiple people that came in and took advantage of no payments for 12 months. So I'm hoping he extends that again tomorrow at the Cougar Preview Show. Hanging out with us right now is the great, the one and only, the incredible Mitch Harper, our Cougar insider. Mitch, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, Hans. How you feeling after that Skyline chili?
Well, I was telling Lloyd, I've kind of got the reverse issue of what people might think. I took that down at 11 o'clock yesterday, and there has been no movement. So I've got 4 scoops of Grater's ice cream. I did one of them in a turtle sundae, and no movement. So I don't know what's happening, but my face feels swollen, if that's any indicator of my health right now.
I can relate.
6. Oh, hey, and that's a great update, by the way, Mitch. We have not really mentioned it on air yet today. 6 combined sacks between Utah and BYU the week before against Baylor and TCU led to me eating 6 Skyline chili dogs from Skyline Chili in Cincinnati with 3 ways. I did them onion, cheese, and mustard. I did complete all 6, and
thank the good Lord that it wasn't 7, because you would
no,
not get.
No,
you weren't getting through 7.
No, and like Spencer Linton said in the video, you can go see the video at 975 Hands. I also threw it out on Instagram, but I don't think people do Instagram anymore.
That's actually incorrect. Actually, a lot of people do Instagram. You're just doing it to upset people.
No, I'm not.
Don't stop.
Nobody does Instagram anymore.
Everybody does Instagram.
It's
what are you
lame.
talking about? No. Mitch, hey, do you want to step in here?
Everyone's on Instagram, Hands.
Why Instagram? It is the least functional. It is the most fake, and it is the biggest time waster. Why would anybody do Instagram? Go to X, and it's just quick information. Bang, 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 and it's the stuff that you want.
Time waster, yes, you are so correct. But
it's all fake too, Lloyd. Like people are just posting fake stuff. Now, I did post me eating the 6 Coney dogs from Skyline. That was not
fake. Was that fake?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Nope,
Was that
was
fake?
not AI. That's why. And by the way, I had to get the 4 confessionals of the people at the table because I knew that you, more than anybody, Lloyd Cole,
don't point your finger at me,
would say, is it fake? So I had 5 witnesses. I had 4 on video. And thank you, Mitch. Yes,
Even Joe Burrow witnessed it.
Joe Burrow. That actually was Spencer Linton. He was confused multiple times for Mr. Burrow. But, Mitch, did you grab some Skyline? What did you think of your overall trip to Cincinnati?
I did grab some Skyline. I'll admit I wasn't the biggest fan. I should have gone with the hot dog. I went with the spaghetti and went 3-way, and I'll admit I wasn't a fan. I didn't like that cinnamon taste. I didn't like it. I'll admit I was not. I didn't finish the plate. I was done. Yeah,
Mitch, what?
I did not like the Skyline chili.
Okay.
Honorary BYU fan Dave Portnoy did not like it. You know what? He was okay on it.
Honorary
he was
BYU.
Okay on it.
Did he get Did he get some of the sauce on his Bear Bachmeier jersey?
You know how he comes outside of the store and he eats the pizza there or whatever. He's trying to set up everything, the cheese and the crackers, and he's got it all set on the ground trying to do this. And he did not like the ice cream. He's like, okay, the Skyline chili, not bad. He went 3-way as well. He did it with the spaghetti.
Now, granted, I probably made the wrong mistake of getting it on my way out at the airport. So maybe that was the wrong move I made.
Yeah, probably. It's going to be the same sauce anywhere there, Mitch. So I think the flavors that you experienced were pretty much it. I will fully admit I am a Skyline nut. Now I'm a little bit overwhelmed with the amount that I took in, but I did love it. The first 3 were just a great joy. The following 3 made it a pretty miserable experience. Hey, Mitch, I've talked a lot about the game, so we can kind of avoid the game for a minute. I want to talk to you about BYU showing up number 11 in the AP poll and just no movement above them in the top 10. And what we're going to potentially see tomorrow night when the CFP reveal comes down, probably staying at number 11. I just feel like at this point, I feel like it's chicken crap. I think that they should jump a couple of these 2 lost teams. I think that they should be in the top 10. I just don't know if anybody's going to do anything about it. Do you?
No, I don't. And they should be above Notre Dame and Alabama. but they won't. And I think that the pollsters on the AP side and the College Football Playoff Committee, they're not taking into account what they claim, which is looking at the full body of work. And when you do size up the full body of work of what BYU has built, some of their wins early in the year are looking a lot better than what we thought they would be. I mean, who would have thought that a win over East Carolina would have been solid, to the point where the College Football Playoff Committee chairman is saying that's one of their best wins. And maybe that's the issue right there, is that is one of their best wins, at least according to the committee. But I still think, a win over an 8-win Arizona, a win over a solid East Carolina team. Iowa State got another win this past weekend. TCU bounced back and looked pretty good. They're a 7-win football team. And, when you look at that and pair it up with a 12-point victory on the road, and then all the other teams that they beat along the way that are bowl eligible, yes, BYU should be 9. I think that's where they should be, and it's just frustrating that the same talking points that applied to BYU and even to Utah back in the Mountain West days are applying to the Big 12 era for BYU, and I think that's where Cougar fans, they dreamed of this spot to be in a conference, a power league, because they naturally thought that those talking points would go out the door. Well, they're still there, and that's unfortunate. And we all know that it's pretty much a Power 2 world, unfortunately, but there's good football in the Big 12, and, BYU has, taken care of business along the way. And in a conference that the nation always says is so inconsistent and unpredictable, Kalani Sitake's program is becoming predictable. 21 victories since last season. The Cougars have been a steady force that you can bank on them every single week showing up and playing at a high level. And I just don't think enough credit has been given to them of how consistent they've been. And this is not just a flash in the pan. This goes back to last year with different quarterbacks, with different personnel in many key spots, yet they continue to win and put out a steady product that's complementary football to its core. They should be above Alabama and Notre Dame, but when you say those names out loud, then that even makes it more challenging, it seems like, the hill that BYU is looking to climb.
I'm going to give you – look, there's 1,000 reasons why this is BS, but I'm going to give you the true BS reason to this thing. If Jake Retzlaff doesn't go anywhere, if he returns with this BYU team that, as you mentioned, had 11 wins last year and just dismantled Colorado with a Heisman Trophy winner and an NFL quarterback, an NFL draft pick quarterback, and you get 11 wins – If you return that team with Jake Retzlaff, this BYU team is a preseason probably top 20. If they're preseason top 20 and they sit 10-1, I've got no doubts that they're probably somewhere around 6 or 7. They're probably 6 or 7. Texas Tech is probably right there with them, 6 or 7-ish, and they're in the top 10. But it's these preseason reads that this true freshman can't get it done that have dropped them down and out of the preseason rankings, and it took them 3 weeks to get into it. And I'm going back to the APs. Obviously, the original CFP, they were in the top 25, but I think some of the original polls set them up to be looked down on because of a true freshman, and that stuff bugs me, Mitch.
It absolutely should. And the thing is that the College Football Playoff Committee chairman, the former one, Mack Rhoades, he said as much back on the first playoff ranking reveal on those weekly teleconferences that they have with the media. He acknowledged that Alabama had one of the toughest stretches in the early part of the season where they beat 4 straight ranked teams. And I thought to myself, why is he acknowledging ranked teams in the first playoff ranking that took place in September? For the playoff committee, there should be no such thing as rankings before what they just revealed. They were acknowledging that they had the AP rankings, that they have influence by saying that comment. Now, I know Mack Rhoades is gone, but that's the problem here, is that these preseason rankings and perceptions really hurt teams like BYU. And then when you factor in, talent roster rankings of recruiting, that also plays a role too. BYU's recruiting is climbing, and next week they'll have signing day, and they'll sign a top 25 recruiting class for the first time in the Kalani Sitake era. But between 2016 to now, BYU's primarily lived in a sub-50 ranked recruiting world. And if you look at those star rankings as a sole barometer for talent, raw talent that seems to get referenced for the Oregons of the world, BYU doesn't have the star power, so then it becomes this eye test thing where, well, how would they actually stack up against these sort of teams that actually get the 5 stars? But then when you dig deeper, you get a 5-star talent like Ryder Lyons coming up, and now he gets dropped to a 4-star. You get, a cornerback commit in Jackson Gates, who now just decommitted from BYU, flipped to Missouri. At BYU, he was committed as a 3-star. Now he goes to Missouri 1 month later. Now he's a 4-star.
What a joke.
And I think those things like that are a hurdle for the Big 12 because, you see it as well as anyone, Hans. You're in the booth. You're calling it, and you call it how you see it, and you break down this game better than anyone. It's like there's good football in the Big 12. There's really good coaching staffs.
Great football.
The schemes, and BYU's taken these teams down. And I still believe, too, Hans, like going around these Big 12 venues and these facilities, even Cincinnati, their indoor practice facility blows away anything BYU's got. I still think BYU, from seeing all these Big 12 campuses, the only one I haven't seen yet is Kansas State. But you go around these stadiums and venues, it's like BYU's still kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of football when it comes to facilities and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of catching up, and they're still beating these teams. Now, I think they've done a great job with their staff and commitment and roster retention and all those things, but they're still probably behind in other areas, yet they're beating those teams that were in this, world for many more years than BYU, and they're now the winningest team since last year and only their 3rd year in the league. There needs to be some credit given to BYU and what Kalani Sitake's doing. I think BYU needs to give another big payday to Kalani Sitake and make it clear as day that he's the guy that's going to lead the charge for BYU football going forward, because this coaching job has been nothing short of impressive. To have a new quarterback, a true freshman, and to be on a spot where you're 1 win away from getting to the Big 12 championship game. BYU looks like a program that's here to stay, and it's not just a flash in the pan. And I think that's pretty exciting for Cougar fans.
Well, for anybody out there that's thinking, why are Mitch and Hans whining about this so much? Why is BYU worried about this so much? Why is this such a big concern? I'll tell you why it's a big concern. The committee is setting this up for the Big 12 to be a one-bid league. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Utah fans, you should feel the same about this, because your loss would look a lot better if BYU was a top 4 team, top 5 team right now. It'd look a lot better. But they keep holding them out because of that one loss to Texas Tech, the same loss that Utah had. And just so Utah fans understand, you got dropped a little bit in the AP. I'm curious, is the CFP going to drop Utah a little bit because they struggled against Kansas State and gave up over 400 yards rushing? So I'm looking at this thing, Mitch, and I'm like, I don't like where any of this is going. I feel like it's being held against Utah. I feel like it's being held against BYU. And I get it, like Texas Tech, the highest ranked Big 12 team, and that's fine. But they've got kind of a disturbing loss against Arizona State. Now, I'm sure the committee looks at it like, well, they didn't have their starting quarterback. Well, Will Hammond was no slouch, and Sam Levitt was an absolute dog. That final drive that he put up to go score against that Texas Tech defense to seal the victory, it was big. And holding Texas Tech to only 22 points, that was big. So I just don't like what the committee is doing. And I know that does put some leverage and pressure on BYU to go out and achieve and say, well, you can't just sleep on or you can't just rest on your laurels. But, Mitch, it just feels like it's all set up to make it a one-bid league.
I agree. And the fact that the committee dropped Alabama after losing to Oklahoma a few weeks back 6 spots, you can't tell me they would have no fear of saying, you know what, Texas Tech, you lost to BYU in Arlington. We'll drop you 6 spots from 5 to 11. Well, that leaves Texas Tech out. So it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if the committee is created this situation where it's just going to be a one-bid Big 12. And look, I think the Big 12, the bottom of the league, is weaker than it's been in years past, but I think the middle is better, and I think that the top is much better than, at least since the point that BYU joined this conference. These are really good teams, and I'd be really curious to see if, assuming BYU can get it done this week against UCF, which I think they will, what BYU looks like against Texas Tech the second go-round with L.J. Martin having more confidence. I mean, L.J. was very candid a few weeks ago that he lacked any confidence in that shoulder against Texas Tech going on the road. His first game back from the injury, it was kind of a tough spot. And then fast forward to this past weekend, he was outstanding against Cincinnati. And if you get that sort of performance, I know Texas Tech is elite stopping the run, but I'd like to think maybe LJ could somehow grind out a way to get 100 yards and put BYU in a position to be a little more competitive against that Texas Tech team a second go-round in Arlington. So it's just a tricky spot, and I think that the Big 12 continues to fight a perception battle, and I think the ACC deals with it as well. I think Kalani's always been on point with this kind of commentary where he wants to get to a point in the sport where everyone in non-conference, you got 3 non-conference games, 1 game if you're a Big 12 team against an ACC foe, 1 against a Big 10, 1 against an SEC team. And then we start to really gauge how good these conferences truly are, because there's nothing equal to really measure the true strength of these teams, especially when you factor in that preseason perception and biases that go into a season. It makes it challenging for these Big 12 teams because none of these squads have the logos that give them any sort of preseason clout. In the preseason, I vote for the Football Writers Association's Super 16. In the preseason, I had Texas Tech at number 11. I was the only one that had them in the top 11 of those top 16 rankings. No one really viewed Texas Tech as much. And so they've had to kind of start from the bottom and climb their way up, and it's remarkable that they've gotten to number 5 in the respect that they're earning, but still that could be gone in an instant because you got a Big 12 logo and not some of the other ones. And I think that it'll be really curious to see how, what Brett Yormark does after these morning games, assuming Tech and BYU take care of business, what type of campaigning he's going to do, because I think it needs to come from Yormark, because Kalani doesn't want to be in that spot. He did it a little bit in 2020 when he had no conference to really help lift him. Mm-hmm. But I think Yormark, he's got to go to bat for Texas Tech and BYU, and really make it clear that both these teams, regardless of what happens in Arlington, if they get there, that they should both be in the playoff.
Great stuff, Mitch. You're the best in the business. You can read all of Mitch's stuff at KSL. Let's see, what is it? It's KSLSports.com. So go to KSLSports.com. You can see all of Mitch's trip to Cincinnati, all of his takeaways. You do no, I'm not going to pub Instagram.
Well, you can follow it on Instagram, too.
Nobody
Trust
goes
me.
there.
I always do.
No, the real ones, they're on X. Follow Mitch on X. What's your handle on X, Mitch?
Mitch_Harper.
Just go there. He'll give you all the goods. Mitch, you really are the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Hans. Appreciate it.
All right, big thanks to Mitch. We'll take a quick one. Come back. It's Whole World, and then we get to hear from Kyle Whittingham, top of the 2 o'clock hour.
Go! It's time to span the globe for the hard-hitting news you care about. Well, not really. But hey, at least we found it interesting. This is Whole World News on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We've got the whole world in our hands.
You got the whole world in our hands. We got
I don't know how these stories keep coming up, and I don't know how these things keep happening, Lloyd. We're going to go to Bangkok. This story is from today, November 24th, just released today. A woman in Thailand shocked temple staff when she started moving in her coffin after being brought in for cremation. So she had been held in the freezer. She had been thought to be dead. She was put in her coffin and was about to be pushed into the cremator, and she moved. Her name is Wat Rat. And
Wat Rat?
Yes. Prokhong Thom. And she was pronounced dead, thought to be dead. And here on this Facebook page, it's showing a woman lying in a white coffin in the back of a pickup truck, slightly moving her arms and head, leaving the temple staff bewildered. I don't know. Okay, so, the thought of being buried alive is maybe the worst thought in existence. And
between that and burning alive.
Are people aware of where the term dead ringer came from?
Probably some, but you could let them know.
During a period of plague that was taking so many lives, the plague would slow down heart rates. People would look dead, and they would put them in coffins and want to bury them, not knowing exactly what is spreading the plague. So they would put people in a coffin, they would put them in the ground, and they would bury them. And some of them would come back to life. So what they started doing was burying them with a string tied to their toe and a tube that would come up through the ground, and that string would be tied to a bell above the coffin, or above where it's buried. And if that bell started ringing, that would tell somebody that the person woke up in the coffin and they're alive, but they were a dead ringer looking dead, and that's where the dead ringer came from. People have been buried alive.
Today, here's one. Ninepence. I'm not dead. What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence. I'm not dead. Here. He says he's not dead. Yes, he is. I'm not. He isn't? Well, he will be soon. He's very ill. I'm getting better. No, you're not. You'll be stone dead in a moment.
Stone dead in a moment. I can't think of a worse way to go. This woman was nearly pushed into a cremator and could have potentially been alive in that moment. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we've got Kyle Whittingham next.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. The Aggies head to California for a chance to get bowl eligible against Fresno State. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Kyle Whittingham with an emotional tribute to his seniors in the postgame of that Kansas State game. You could tell he's very emotionally charged, and he was really happy to come out of that game with a win. That would have been a really horrifying loss because I think all the rushing yardages and all those things would have been accentuated, and it just would have been really tough to go into the locker room and talk to those players, and you come out of that thing with a win, and it changes the overall feel. So Kyle Whittingham, I think, kind of overwhelmed in that moment. I know people are reading into it. I think they're reading very deep into it, Lloyd, maybe a little bit too deep into it. Thinking, well, the tears and the emotion, and he's left the field for the final time as the head coach of the University of Utah. That's other people saying that. That's not me. Just so you know.
It's an emotional game.
It's an emotional game.
When you talk like that, it
is
an emotional game.
And I just want to be, even if I'm on an island and I sound stupid and look stupid, I don't think Kyle Whittingham's done until he's done. And I don't think anybody putting there he is as he walks off the field for the last time. I saw the different social media posts and people saying, has to be the last one. You can see it in his eyes. I'm not there. I don't believe that. So I will stand firm in saying he's not done until he's done. Until he says he's done. That's when he's done. Kyle Whittingham addressed the media earlier today, and we always do the okay, all right. Scotty texted and said he's going with an all right. I think it's an okay kind of day. So give Scotty the all right. I think it's okay.
Good go? Okay. Really proud of our guys for the way they handled the game on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. It was, one of those games where just got to keep hanging in there and making plays, and our guys did just that, and were able to come out with a win. A lot of offense, obviously, both sides. Not a lot of defense on either side, but it was good to get the win, and really for our seniors, it was awesome to see them be able to play their last game in Rice Eccles and go out with a win, and that was. Probably the biggest positive of the night the afternoon was seeing that happen. A lot of really good individual performances on offense. Devin Dampier was outstanding. Did miss a few throws early, but settled in and really played an excellent game, over 300 yards, well over 300 yards of total offense. Wayshawn Parker hit 100 yards again. Bird Ficklin added his usual positive things to the game. A couple touchdowns and some really good runs. Offensive line, again, did a nice job, rushed for almost 300 yards. So a lot of good things on offense. Obviously not our best game on defense. Got really there's no real easy explanation to it. I mean, we just did not play the run game in any way, shape, or form with any consistency, with any degree of, it just wasn't good. And, we were doing everything we could do wrong, we did. We didn't fit the run gaps like we're supposed to. We didn't tackle like we usually do. We weren't as physical as we usually are in the front seven. So a lot of things that were just, just happened. And I guess that happens on rare occasions. But I got no doubt that those guys will bounce back this week, and they're a prideful group and have a lot of competitiveness in them, and so we'll hopefully get that thing turned back around and where it should be for this week. Kansas, got a road trip to Kansas to finish off the regular season. A lot like the team we just played, personnel-wise, physical, got some athletic guys. And so there's a lot of carryover from the last few games. There's a lot of carryover in this game from both sides of the football schematically that, things that we've seen. And so we got to be ready. It's a Friday kickoff, so a short week. Got one day less to prepare, as do they, so there's no advantage one way or the other there. But looking for, the opportunity to win a 10th game in the regular season, which I can't remember the last time we were able to do that, but it's been a few years, I believe. So anyway, questions?
Got Justin's question here.
Okay.
Last one of the year. After this historic win on Saturday, congrats on this historic win on Saturday. Joe Jackson, though, broke multiple records by 293 yards at Rice Eccles Stadium. Do you have a plan that will rectify this issue as we take on the Jayhawks this Friday?
We sure hope so. And yeah, he did a lot of damage, and it was really on one play, A-gap power. Just a basic, one of the most basic plays in football. There was nothing elaborate about the schemes, nothing that took us by surprise. Again, we just didn't fit the run game up at all, and it was an historically bad day defending the run. So yeah, we certainly got to have a better answer than we had last week.
And then after the game, you kind of showed some rare emotion there. What
Yeah.
was it about was it the moment, the way that game transpired, or what kind of brought that up?
Not really. It's just the seniors, and you want them so badly to go out on a positive note and have they've been so instrumental to our success for a lot of years, that group, and have provided such great leadership this year, and been so just have done such a great job of keeping things on track, and just wanted them to be able to go out the right way, and against all odds they did. And it looked like for a minute it wasn't going to happen, and so they were able to do that, and that got the best of me. I don't usually get too emotional, and that did get the best of me. You're right.
Obviously, you have a decision to make about your future.
Mm-hmm.
What are the main factors that go into that decision? Is that something you start thinking about now, or is that something?
No, that's an after the season thing. After the when it's all said and done, and whatever happens to us in the postseason, whichever situation we find ourselves in, as soon as everything's culminated, and you have a few days or maybe even a week or two to sit back and evaluate and see where you're at and go from there. So I guess that's the best answer I can give you right now.
Kyle, you guys left the Kansas State game a bit banged up. John Henry Daly, Ryan Davis, and I think even Spencer Fano. Are any of those season-ending or any of those long-term? Just walk me through that.
John Henry is long-term. Unfortunately, it's a season-ending injury, and felt bad for him. He was having a monster game. I think it was only 15 snaps in, and he had 4 or 5 impact plays, and so just tough to see that happened to John Henry. That's why I say it all the time. It's the worst part of college football is the injuries and seeing these guys, go down. And so he unfortunately is long term. The other guys wait and see. We'll have the injury report. I don't know since it's a short week if it comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Usually it's Wednesday, but I don't know if it'll be Tuesday. Okay, so you'll find out tomorrow, and we'll find out more as the days go by here.
Coach, to follow up on that, you had players step up in their place, John Henry Daly and Ryan Davis, speaking of Cash and Lance, and then on offense with Larry and Creed.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say of those guys' performance stepping up?
Did a nice job, and all of them. You mentioned the guys that really picked up the slack. Creed has really come into his own these last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And even though he hasn't played a ton, just his practice, the way he's performing in practice, the things that were lacking in spring and earlier in the season he's made those weaknesses become strengths. And so it was very positive to see him be able to come in and really give us a little bit of a spark. Cash Dillon is a guy that we think has a tremendous upside. He's played quite a few snaps already this year, but when we lost John Henry, it was up to him and Lance to come in and do some good things, and they both did. And so that's fortunate for us that we had depth at those positions.
Kyle, at this point last year, you guys were eliminated from bowl contention.
I was miserable at this point last year. Yeah, we all were.
So can you
maybe some were happy. I don't know. Maybe some.
Can you speak to just the turnaround, because now you guys are pushing for your first 10-win regular season since 2019.
2019. Okay.
Can you just talk about the turnaround that one calendar year has provided to this team?
Yeah. Well, again, credit the seniors for not having a hangover after the season. I guess you could say not only do you have hangovers after after games, you can have a little bit of a hangover after a season, and they would have none of that. We started off the off season on a very positive note way back in January, and again, due to their great leadership, and they're instrumental in getting things turned around. I mean, that's the real bottom line to what the success this season really is hinged upon, is the ownership that the players have taken in the program. Hey, Wes, I thought you were retired. Close? All right.
When are we golfing?
Soon.
The last couple of years, your defense is the one that's kept you guys in games. And your
Right.
defense has struggled. And the last couple of weeks, it's been the other way around. That's got to feel bizarre to you.
It's a departure, and certainly we had our struggles last year on defense, and again, those, not to belabor the point, but we going on your fifth quarterback in the last game didn't help our cause at all, but we still played really good defense this year. I think we're probably third in the league in most categories: scoring defense, total defense, all the major categories. And so we're still playing good defense, but we're playing really good offense this year. Our offense is first, second, or third in most every category as well, and that's what has lent itself to a good season. And you're right. Typically, it's when we get in those tough games. In the past, it was low-scoring defensive battles, but the offense has done a really good job this year putting points on the board. In fact, that was probably the biggest difference in the game Saturday, is we were 6 for 6 in the red zone, 6 touchdowns and 6 trips, and that's outstanding. We got one of the top. I got to believe we're in the top 5 or 6 in the nation in red zone touchdown percentage offensively. I don't have that stat at the tip of my fingers, but that was probably the biggest difference in the game.
You had 4 guys take direct snaps, whether it was Dampier, Ficklin, Johnson, and Parker. What does that do to a defense when they kind of don't know who to prepare for, who's going to have the ball first?
Exactly, and that's part of Jason's creativity and the way he game plans, and it's all designed to create matchup problems and show things that we haven't shown before, which are difficult for the defense, but fit into what we're doing offensively, so there's not a huge learning curve for our guys. It's just a matter of using all your weapons to the utmost, and he has a real gift for that. Jason does, as far as putting kids or players in position to succeed and putting the defense in conflict.
Coach, you lead the country in red zone touchdown.
We do.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What is it? It's got to be 80% or better.
82%.
82%, which
above Georgia.
That's huge. That is huge.
Can you talk about Devin Dampier and what he showed in that fourth quarter after battling through kind of a rough game to make the plays that he did?
That's who he is. You talk about a fierce competitor and a guy that never, ever even thinks about getting down on himself or anybody else. He's always positive, and it was manifest in that fourth quarter in particular. And what a great leader he is. I can't say enough good things about him and what he's meant to the program in the short time he's been here.
Over your tenure, you've always wanted to establish the run, but this year you have a chance to potentially break a school record in total rushing yards in the regular season. What does that mean just for you personally, and also just for this team to be able to have that?
Well, for me personally, I love the physicality of the game, and there's nothing more that demonstrates physicality than running the football and defending the run. And if we're, what is the record? I don't know. How close are we? I don't know.
About 180, I believe.
Okay, well, I would say first of all, or second of all, that the offensive line is really the driving impetus behind that. I mean, we got a really good athletic quarterback that runs the ball well. We've got, Wayshawn Parker's coming to his own. But without an offensive line that can do the things that our guys have done all year, that stuff doesn't happen. And so that's a real credit to them and Jim Harding and the job he's done with those guys.
How would you evaluate Jason Beck this season? How has he helped?
A+. We're only 11 games in, so we got one to go. I say only. We got one to go, but Jason has really been a huge positive force, and then the influx of the transfer portal guys have helped boost us as well. And then, but again, it all starts with a solid offensive line, but Jason's done a phenomenal job this year. Statistically, that is borne out in the numbers as well.
You've always struck me as a guy who doesn't worry about the things that you can't control.
That's a good analysis. Yeah, I'll take that.
But now you're in the changing landscape of college football. You're spending a lot of time and money investing in players that at the end of the year could be gone. How frustrating as a head coach has that become to you?
Well, it's a radical departure from how it used to be, and you used to know who 90+% of your roster is going to be from year to year as the guys go in and out. But now it's there's so much change, and you better be on top of your game. You better have a good list of portal guys already put together, before the season ends to see, hey, if this guy hits the portal, we're definitely going to be interested in keep an eye out for that. And so I can't really say that. You just have to embrace the change because you can't do anything about it, as you said. Don't worry about what you can't control. So the portal is here. It's here to stay, in my opinion. And so you better embrace it and navigate it and use it to your advantage. And I think we've done a pretty good job. I really feel like our net portal results are way in the positive column than the negative column as far as who we lost and who we've gained.
Say two more. Kyle, piggybacking off of that, the portal window in January and last year, just with so many decisions to be made, it's kind of like you can't get a breath. But now there's sort of that dead period. Does that help when you're making decisions in terms of maybe say a retirement or player retainment and all of that stuff? How does that change your guys' process?
Yeah, we think it's going to help. Now, it's the first time through it with this format, so something's going to rear its ugly head, we're sure. But it seems to make more sense now than it ever has since the advent of the portal. And so as we navigate it and go through it, I'll have better feedback for you, a couple months than I do right now. But you gotta a chance now to take, as you said, a breather and time to evaluate, visit with your players, your roster, and try to retain your roster and find out what guys' plans are. And so it's I think it appears to be a real solid move on the rules committee part to structure it that way.
Last one from Samantha.
Blake has had an insane season. He's been top of PFF's coverage grades for you guys this season. Can you just speak about the importance of him in the secondary this year?
Yeah, case in point, I talk about the guys we've gained in the portal. He's one of them, Blake Cotton, and has been instrumental to our success on defense. His as you mentioned, his statistics and the PFF stuff is all very good on him, and that's just another example of a guy coming in and contributing right away, and he's just been a huge positive. I hope he gets some postseason accolades because he sure deserves it, in my opinion.
There you go, Kyle Whittingham. We are going to have a conversation with Utah insider Steve Bartle coming up next, jump into this game, some of the details of it, and talk a little bit about how the Big 12 rankings will shake out. I would imagine Houston falls out of the top 25. I would guess that Arizona sneaks back into the top 25 with a nice win over the weekend. And that would mean that BYU would have a couple of teams that they've played and beat inside the top 25. So that'd be big for them. Also, University of Utah looking really good with one or two of these wins, including that win against Arizona State. That's a big-time win and sets them up nicely. Good win over Cincinnati, nice win over Baylor. Kansas State's been on the struggle, but that still was critical for them to come back and seal that. And we'll see what the College Football Playoff Committee does with them. We see what the AP did. It's ridiculous. But we'll talk to Steve Bartle about some of that stuff coming up next as well. Our Utah Insider, Bartle, next.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Lucky enough to have the man, the myth, and the legend, Steve Bartle, hanging out in studio with us. How you doing, Mr. Bartle?
Good, man. I need some shades. I need some shades real bad right now because the light shining from you, my man.
And an overcoat.
It's bright, dude. It's just bright.
There's only one man that wears shades in that seat. Only one.
Only one, man. I wish I could match that dude's aura.
Yeah, I know. I love him.
Yeah.
I love being around him, love talking to Trevor Riley. Been just dear friends for a lot of years. And he shaded out.
Oh,
and it
yeah,
wasn't just
bro.
any normal shade. Like, I think those are the shades that Coach Prime gifted the whole team.
Oh, there you go.
Remember when they brought the shades in?
Yeah, I'm sure those are all one-of-one type shades.
Also, I noticed in the shade, there was a little round circle, so I think those are prescription shades.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure.
There you go.
But that was great. What a comeback. What a win. Talk about, I don't know even where to start with this game. Take us to the moment, the pick 2 by Teo Johnson, the pop-up by Smith Snowden, and how that changed the game. Or, you know what, let's start with this. Where do you think the game changed for Utah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was right around that time. So Devin Dampier was 3rd and 9, I think, and he had the QB draw play and fumbled. And at that point, that was right at that time where up at Utah, the press box, you start to empty out to get down to the field, right? And as we're sort of transitioning from the press box out to the elevator to go down to the field, all of a sudden we hear the roar from the crowd. I shouldn't say roar, but noise from the crowd, and saw the Joe Jackson touchdown after the Dampier fumble. And at that point, you're just like, all right, well, we kind of know how this game is trending, and you're starting to work on your content and how you're going to frame things. And by the time we got to the elevator, Teo Johnson was running back an interception, and we're unaware kind of like what's going on. And at that point, I was with Josh Bennett, my co-host of the Utah Blockcast, and he says to me at that moment, he's like, that's actually really big to get that 2 points for you in that moment. That was really kind of the play that changed the game, the final 7 minutes. We got down to the field, and we've got fans behind us that are, debating whether Utah's going to be able to get the win or not. And there's this little kid that's just trying to will everybody to believe in winning. And it was surreal to watch those final minutes unfold. It was 4th and 1, and Dev rips off the 59-yard run, and that place erupted. It was reminiscent of the 2022 game with Cam Rising against USC. It was reminiscent of, Britton Covey's return against Oregon. The place erupted. And from that moment on, those final couple of minutes, Rice-Eccles Stadium was as loud as it's been for that stretch of time that I've ever heard. Those final 3 minutes were huge for Utah.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
The loudest you've ever heard.
Among the best, among the loudest. And that's saying something because at 7 minutes, you see the touchdown, you see the turnover, the touchdown, and, fans, not criticizing them for leaving, but a lot of fans left. And for a lot of fans that were still there, Kyle Whittingham, said it best that they were given a pretty special treat to for those that hung around for that one.
When you said a lot left, because I went back and watched most of it, you can't see it.
No.
When you say a lot left, how many is a lot?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but just from what it was.
Could you give me a percentage? 10%?
10, 15, 20% of the stadium left. 7 minutes to left. Again, Kansas State going up 10 or going up 12 with an opportunity to add a 2-point conversion, go up 14, 7 minutes left. There haven't been too many games like that where you've seen a comeback in that sort of, and the way that Kansas State was playing, it was wild. It was crazy. So for Utah to fight back, and again, I think it speaks to the never die attitude that Whittingham has instilled in that program up there. That's what we saw Saturday night.
What's it like for you as a lifetime Ute coverer? What's it like for you to see 51 points on the board and a Utah offense answer the call. I was going through the play-by-play script on this thing, and it was like Kansas State touchdown, Utah touchdown, Kansas State touchdown, Utah touchdown, and just answering. And then when you really needed it, clamp down. And still, the defense gave you the win with an interception.
Yeah.
The defense gave you a win with the batted pass from Snowden that landed in Teo's hands for the pick too. Like, the defense still gave you the moments. But what's that like for you to see a Utah offense that can put up 51 points?
Yeah, it's remarkable. And again, I go back to that 2022 game, Utah versus USC. You know, Caleb Williams jumping out to a big lead with the Trojan offense that they had that year. It was one of the top offenses with Lincoln Riley and Williams, and they were, you know, getting a lot of offense, and it just felt at that time, you know, during that game early on, the first quarter, you're just like, oh, there's no way Utah's going to be able to hang into this one. And then, you know, so that's where I feel like I make that comparison to that game is, you know, Utah just continued to, you know, answer. And that, to me, was really indicative of this team and that offense, you know, with the leaders that they have on that side of the ball with Dev and Spencer and Jaron Kump, who's played in a lot of big games. For Utah. He's been here he's been at Utah since 2019, 2020. He's seen a lot of big games. And, you know, for that group to continue to respond, you know, despite those back-breaking plays that the defense gave up, which was just wild to see Utah give up that amount of yardage. I think it was 384 in the first half alone on the ground. It was a record. You know, only New Mexico had 407 yards in total. That was the only game where at halftime, you know, again, Kansas State, I think, was 384 or 348. I'm dyslexic. But that was the only other game that had more rushing yardage, and that was a total game. So Utah giving up that amount in the first half was wild. But for the offense to answer each and every time was really significant. And Kyle talked about it today. But they went 6 for 6 in the red zone for touchdowns, and I think
still number one in the country.
Number one
zone.
in the country, 82% touchdown percentage, and that is arguably the biggest difference this year from last year is Utah's red zone production this year.
They get in and it's over.
Yeah,
I'll tell you when my back broke and I put the white flag, and said it's over. It was the fumble that led to a touchdown.
Yeah,
you know, at that point you're down 41-35. You fumble it. And by the way, just a pure effort to try to get to the markers.
For sure.
Devin was doing everything he could. And Kansas State takes it, goes 3 plays, 26 yards. They go up 47-35 at the time. I think it was 47-35.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, nah, it's over.
Yep.
And lo and behold, they were able to push back in that moment. They get a touchdown. They force a Kansas State punt. They get a touchdown. And then they end it with the interception.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I don't when the fumble popped out, you just think it's over.
That was it. That was it. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of fans felt the same way. That was a back-breaking moment to see that fumble because, you know, Utah hadn't been able to stop the K-State attack. And it was an unfamiliar game for a lot of Utah fans, I'm sure, because of the defensive struggles and the way that the offense was still, you know, responding throughout the night. But Dev really stepped up for Utah in those final moments. You know, it wasn't his best performance this season up to that point, but he dug deep, made plays, especially responding after the fumble. You know, to make the plays that he did, the throw that he did to Larry Simmons for the touchdown. Was a dot, and you know, he just answered the call in the clutch moments for Utah down the stretch.
So let's talk about this, Steve. What's next for Utah? What is possible for Utah in the remaining parts of this season? They play Kansas. That should be a good win. They now stack 10 wins. They've got some good wins in it. The Arizona State win is proving to be very good. Mm-hmm. Arizona State in the back and forth with Colorado, but finished out really strong. Vegas still owns the rights to the Pac-12 legacy, so Vegas could select them. Alamo Bowl is up there. Obviously, Pop-Tarts Bowl, still possible and up there.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sense of what's next, what's left.
Yeah.
Give me the high side of Utah and give me the low side of Utah.
Yeah, just the absolute chaotic weekend that Week 14 could potentially be. Utah still has a chance to get to the Big 12 title game, but again, you're going to need a West Virginia team to knock off Texas Tech. That seems very, 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 very unlikely. But still,
it would be great.
Crazier things have happened, and I think that would lead to a Utah-BYU Big 12 title game, which would just be the most Big 12 thing to happen. The one team that beat both BYU and Utah this season ends up outside of the Big 12 title game because of the tiebreakers and all that would have to happen. There's more than just West Virginia. But if you lose to West Virginia, I don't know that you deserve a title shot.
No.
So let's put that out there first and foremost. But there would be other things that would need to play out. Obviously, BYU would also have to lose to UCF. I think obviously Utah would need to win, and I think Arizona State would need to win. But that's the most chaotic, best case scenario for Utah would be just an absolute chaotic Week 14 to then get to the Big 12 title game next weekend. Beyond that, you still have potential for chaos in the college football playoff race.
In the top 10.
In the top 10. I think, if Oklahoma loses to LSU, that's an interesting one. We'll see what happens with the rest of the top 10, but there's still that. Obviously, it's not a great...
Alabama's got to play Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn's not real good.
No.
I don't think Alabama's real good. I think they're just... I think both BYU and Utah would crack them.
Right. We'll see. I don't want to put up the "We Want Bama" sign just yet, but
I would love to see that game.
I would love it. Yeah, I would love it. I would love the opportunity for sure. And I think, Utah's still fighting for a lot. And what's interesting about these bowl games, I didn't realize the Las Vegas Bowl is now a December 31st bowl game. I don't know when that changed. It must have changed recently.
Which bowl game?
The Las Vegas Bowl.
December 31st.
And so, that's an interesting one. Pop-Tarts Bowl, obviously, and then the Alamo Bowl. So we'll see what ends up happening. But there's still, a lot on the table for Utah to finish out the season.
A lot on the table and a lot to be proud of what this Utah team has accomplished and what they're doing offensively. Tell me this, Steve. How does the future of Utah? You know what? Let's move this way. Let's move in this direction. Because everybody saw Utah get this win, this comeback win, very emotionally straining on Kyle Whittingham. He was emotional in the post game, and I was just telling Lloyd, I'm going to stand by this. I just don't think he's done. I don't think he's done. There was so much going through social media of, this was the indicator. I don't think it is. I think that his Grinch-like heart is starting to grow in size because his Whoville seniors have built up this love in his chest. Mm-hmm. And I think he's starting to feel it a little bit. But I don't think he's done. I want to know where you stand.
It's an interesting conversation. I think Kyle Whittingham has loved this team and this season and what it's meant for Utah football. You can tell how much the program means to him. You can tell how much the university means to him. And his big thing going back to last year was, not wanting to leave the program on a sour note, on a low note, right? He wanted to finish stronger, and he couldn't stomach leaving the program with a 5-7 record and, some of the worst things that have happened to the program in a really long time, the 7-game losing streak. I don't know how many times we talked about that, Lloyd, but that was one that you had to go back in the record books to see the last time they had that. And I think Kyle Whittingham, I'm sure there's still the debate of what he genuinely wants to do. Does he want to come back? Does he want to take on that next phase of his life? And I think when the dust settles and he's able to kind of sit back and see what he accomplished this season, he's definitely set up Utah on a much better trajectory. Everybody knows what is next for Utah when he does decide to call it a career. Morgan Scalley will step up, and I think there's a lot of excitement and optimism about what he'll be as a head coach. Obviously, he's not going to have the answers in year one and year two. It's going to be a process for him, but there's a lot of faith in him. And I think, a lot of fans appreciate what Whittingham has accomplished. And, all you have to do is drive up to the university to see how that campus has evolved.
Oh, yeah.
All of that, I shouldn't say all of that, but a lot of that is
a large portion.
A lot of that is due to what Whittingham accomplished in his career to get that Pac-12 invite, and to see that campus evolve. That a lot of credit belongs to Whittingham for all of that.
You got to tip your cap.
Absolutely.
And I envision a time where Whittingham's name is on the stadium.
Oh yeah,
he's had that level, that significant of an impact, taking them through Pac-12 adjustments, now taking them into Big 12 adjustments, and we've seen the path. A similar path to what Kalani did with BYU, kind of a down first season, and then you get to 10-2 in the second season.
Yeah,
that's where Kyle's standing currently. He should get to 10-2, and he should have it nice and established. A lot of me, Steve, is just I don't want change. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him go. And so maybe I'm just sitting here in my own selfish optimism, and maybe he's got grander plans with grandkids and a design on life. I don't see it.
Yeah. It's so foreign to us, right? There are students at the University of Utah that they've only known Kyle Whittingham as the head coach because, he's been here for 20 some odd years, and he's meant so much to the program that it would be kind of surreal to not see him walking the sidelines each and every Saturday. It's surreal, and it's going to be a lengthy time to adjust and transition to that next phase. But I think, he's done a lot. He's done a lot for the university where he can, whenever he does decide to hang it up, that he can feel really proud about what he accomplished as the head man of Utah football.
Well, Steve, Friday game, a Friday day kick.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, not great. Friday Black Friday, post-Thanksgiving out in Kansas, 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
So are you
going
to leave on Thanksgiving night? Or?
No, I'm leaving Wednesday because, flights and budgets and all that sort of stuff. And
so you leave Wednesday?
Yep.
You'll spend Thanksgiving
alone in Kansas City. So if there are any listeners out there in KC, hit your guy up.
Yeah, hit your guy up, man. Let's get him out to a good Thanksgiving. But Steve, thank you, man. You do a fantastic job for KSLSports.com. And,
appreciate you.
You have definitely upped the value, so appreciate you. Really appreciate you, man, and your time.
Appreciate you, Hans. Thank you, man.
There you go, Steve Bartle. He is the absolute man with his coverage at KSLSports.com. You can read all of his material as he takes the trip Wednesday out there for you. He's doing this for you. He's sacrificing his time on the road in Kansas.
Can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than Kansas for Thanksgiving.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I could think of a few places, but at least it's not tornado season. All right. Great stuff by Steve. Take a quick one. We'll come back and give you a few final thoughts, and we'll wrap it up and get you ready for the boys, Alex and JJ, coming up next.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The regular season comes to an end for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes as they hit the road for a battle against Kansas. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Remember to take care of Thanksgiving through Kenny J's Barbecue. I did. You should too. I'm going to be picking up the slow-smoked turkey breast and my slow-smoked brisket that I'll take home. I'm going to pick it up Thursday morning, the morning of Thanksgiving, from Kenny J's out there in Draper. And I'm going to take it home, keep it in the tinfoil. We're going to eat around 1:30. I'll open up that tinfoil, all the amazing smells, and I'm going to tell everybody at the Thanksgiving table, look what I did. This was me. I'm taking full credit for it. I don't care.
You should.
But Kenny J's is going to be cooking it for me. Text them, and you can get that order ready. 230-5396, please.
Kenny J can make you look good, too.
Oh, he can make you look so good. His turkey breasts, it is fall apart delicious. It's juicy. It's moist. It's everything you want in a turkey breast. So just text 801-230-5396. Two quick things. Number one, Cincinnati's athletic director has issued an apology for his fans' behavior, and I don't accept it because it's just another empty apology. And, this was maybe one of the worst that I'd heard in terms of the amount of fans participating in F the Mormons. If you want to go F the Cougars, or if you want to go F BYU, it's fine. But you got a lot of members of a religion from that area, too, that are bringing their young kids. And they're listening to a fan base chant F that religion. It's just pathetic. It's disgusting. It feels like, okay, well, I thought we've kind of evolved a bit as a society to be more thoughtful of others. And it is such a stab to BYU fans. Fine, go F BYU or F the Cougars. If you just want to use a foul word and you want to act like you're a strong fan base and we hate you, well, that's fine. Go with the school or go with the mascot. I don't care about that, but this is getting ridiculous. I'm expecting to hear something from Yormark.
I was going to say, when do you think we'll hear that? Because it seemed like, that one with Colorado, it happened very quickly. It seemed like it was by
I thought it was
Sunday.
by Monday. No, I thought it was by Monday.
No, was it Monday? Okay.
I think so. I think that it was issued by Monday. I'm expecting something here. Maybe JJ and Alex will see it. If not, it should be on Tuesday. But something needs to be handed down and done about it because it's a real bummer. It's a bummer, man.
Well, it's become a problem, and it's almost like when somebody doesn't like something, a lot of people like to try to do that to get under their skin. This is not the thing to try to do to get under somebody's skin.
It's not, man.
This ain't this ain't it.
The Cougar fan base, I can't remember. I think it was 27,000 pounds of food that they raised for the Cincinnati Food Bank. It's like the single largest donation in Cincinnati Food Bank history. They raise all this food. Those Cougar fans, they buy the tickets. They fill up your stadium. They buy your food. They buy your concessions. They buy your tickets. Now, they did kind of take over the stadium, and they were very loud.
It's not their fault.
But that's just them being supportive. And to have a fan base sit there and F the religion, just F the school, fine, F the school. If you got to be a foul-mouthed jerk and disgusting, then F the school. It's so disgusting to me. It's so unnecessary. I just can't imagine Notre Dame being in LaVell Edwards Stadium and having LaVell Edwards Stadium go, F the Catholics. I just can't even imagine it. I'd be horrified to ever be associated with that school. It's embarrassing, man, and I hate to get all bent out of shape about it, but this is where our society has taken us now. We can't just let things fall off our back. So I'm hoping that the commissioner takes a fine stand. And by the way, that's a huge road win. That's a big road win. Good team. Big road win by BYU. Scotty gets back tomorrow. We'll talk a lot about BYU and that Cincinnati road win and so much more on your Thanksgiving week. JJ and Alex next.